Welcome back. So today we are going to work on measure of position, and the first measure of position that we are working today, they are called quartiles. And quartiles are the values that separate the data into approximately 4 equal groups. If you remember from one of the class this week, we talk about median, which is the value in the middle. It divides the data into 2 equal parts. But now we are talking about quartiles. Quartiles will divide the data into 4 equal parts. So if we have the lowest value here and the highest value here, the quartile will divide this entire data set into 4 equal parts. So if we have one quartile here, first quartile, we have second quartile here, and third quartile here, you can see that the data is divided into 4 equal parts. 1, 2, 3 here, and 4. And in each of these little sections, you have 25% of the data. And this second quartile divides the data into 2 equal parts. Second quartile is same as the median, which we already know how to calculate. Now, in order to find these quartiles, Q1, Q2, and Q3, you must know how to find the quartiles manually, that is without using calculator, and also you must know how to calculate using calculator. Here we have these steps in calculating the quartiles manually. So what we have to do is, if the data given is not arranged, the first thing is you have to arrange the data in ascending order, then find the median. You already know how to find the median. So we find the median, which is the middle value. Then in order to find this Q1, Q1 is the median of the data value, which is less than median. And then Q3 is also the median. It divides the data in this part into 2 equal parts. So we can say Q3 is the median of the data values greater than Q2. So we have now the fundamental idea about the quartiles. We have seen that there are 3 quartiles, and quartile divides the data into 4 equal parts. And we have the steps for calculating the quartile. Now what we are going to do is we are going to take an example and calculate quartile. Okay, here is the quartile. Make sure you unmute yourself, and then if you want to ask question, otherwise keep yourself muted there.
Okay.
Okay, let's begin with the first example here. Collision coverage insurance against physical damage paid in dollars by an insurance company for a sample of 18 collisions are given here. These are the amount in dollar paid by the insurance company. We have to find the first, second, and third quartile. Now, in order to find the quartile, the first thing we do is we find the second quartile, which is also the median. In order to find the median or quartiles, if the data is not arranged, we have to arrange the data. So look at these values: 180, 189, 370, 618, 735, 802, 1105, 1114, 1165, 1953 instead of 1000. I'm saying 100 so that you know that it's arranged. 2332, 2336, 3461, 4668, 6751, 9908. Now we have 10,034 and 21,047. So we can see that this data is well arranged. So you don't have to arrange that. That part is done for you. Now, if you count how many observations are there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So there are 18 observations. So if you want to divide the 18 observations into 2 parts, you will have 9 first and then 9 second, so that in the middle, you will have your Q2 or median. So 9th item is this one, and then the 10th item is this. So your median is the average of the 9th and the 10th item. So that is what we are going to find first. Median, you can say that is Q2, or you can write MD for median, is the average of 1165 and 1953. So 1165 plus 1953 divided by 2. 1165 plus 1953, you can add, it should be 3118. And when you divide it by 2, you should get 1559. That is the minimum, I mean, the median amount of payment made by the insurance company, $1,559. Any question up to this point?
No.
Okay. Now, after we have Q2, these are the datas which are below Q2, and these are the datas which are above Q2. So what I'm saying is this. These are the data values below Q2, and these are the data values above Q2. Now Q1, when we find Q1, Q1 is the median of these values. So here we have 9 values. So the middle value will be the fifth one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 735, that is the middle value. So that we have 4 items on this side and 4 on the other side. So this is your Q1. So we can say Q1 is the median of data below Q2, which is equal to, so these are the values below Q2, and the median for these numbers is 735. So that is 735. So that is your first quartile. Similarly, the third quartile is the median of these numbers. Here also we have 9 numbers. So the number in the middle is the fifth one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is this value. So you have 4 items below that and 4 items above that. So this value here is your third quartile. So you can say Q3 is the median of data above Q2. And the median of the data above Q2 is 4,668. That is 4,668. So in this example, we learn how to find the quartiles manually, that is without using calculator. In next example, what we are going to do is we are going to learn how to find Q1, Q2, Q3 using calculator and use them to calculate something else. Let's move on to next example. Do you have any question on this example, by the way? Just say
No.
yes or no. Okay, great. So here is the other example. And in this example, you can see we are asked to, for the following set of data, we are asked to find the interquartile range and mid-quartile. When we say interquartile range and mid-quartile, what are these? So when we say interquartile range, we write IQR. This is the difference between third quartile and first quartile. So in order to find the interquartile range, we need Q3 and Q1. And similarly, mid-quartile, we write MQ. Mid-quartile is Q3 plus Q1 divided by 2. So also to find the mid-quartile, we need Q3 and Q1. You can manually find Q1, Q2, Q3 and calculate these, or you can use calculator and find these. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we can calculate the quartiles using calculator in this one. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen and share my calculator.
Okay.
Can you see my calculator?
Yes.
Okay, so what we do is, in order to find the quartile for those numbers, we go to stat and then number 1, edit, where we can enter the data. So in list 1, we enter the data. I have already entered the data, 51, 58, 50, 56, 57, 59, 54, 60, and 52. After you enter the data, now you are ready to calculate those quartiles. So what we do is you go to stat, then go to calculate, and we are working on one variable, stat, so just hit enter because one is already selected. Your data is in list 1, we don't have frequency, so come down and hit calculate. Then here, you can see your Q1. Do you see that Q1 over there?
You know, every time I go to that mine goes straight to the VR stats. It won't go to that other. Okay, let me hold on. So you went.
I went to stat.
Uh-huh.
Did you enter the data already?
Yes. Oh,
Okay,
and
then we
then
go
you have to
to,
calculate.
yeah, go
And
to
then,
calculate. Then do you have one variable stat there?
yes. And
Then
then
you
it's
hit, uh-huh.
one VR stats and that's it.
Then enter, just enter. If
Okay.
that number one is selected, enter.
Hmm.
And what do you get?
That's what doesn't pull up on mine. The list frequency list and then the
Okay,
calculate.
let's try one thing. Go back to the main menu by pressing second and mode.
Okay.
And then go to, let's see, go to mode. And then try to find this one in your calculator all the way down. Your menu may be a little different than mine, but if you scroll all the way down, you might see this one, stat diagnostics. Okay, do you see that?
Um.
If you scroll down, you should see this one, which says stat diagnostics.
Okay.
Okay. And if that is off, make sure you turn it on, select on and hit enter.
Okay.
Then go to stat again, then
Okay.
go to calculate. And let's see, one variable is stat. What do you see?
For some reason it didn't change. I'd have to.
It is showing the same.
Yeah.
Probably you need to update your calculator. That's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue now, okay?
Okay.
So when you go here and then calculate, as I showed you before, you'll
Hmm.
see your Q1 there, so which you can copy in your note catcher. So your Q1 is 51.5. Then if you hit this lower arrow, then you'll see the median, which is Q2. You can write median or Q2 as 56. And if you hit one more time, this down arrow, you'll see Q3. So Q3 is 58.5. So you can see that we can use calculator to find these values, Q1, median, Q3, okay? Also, it will give you the minimum value. You can see here, it will give you the minimum value and it will give you the maximum value. In fact, these five numbers here, you can see minimum, Q1, median, Q3, and maximum. These five numbers are very important. Sometimes we call these numbers as the five summary numbers. Okay. Let me
Okay.
stop share this screen and go back and share my previous screen.
Okay.
So we calculated, so in this example, what we did is after we have Q1, Q2, and Q3, we calculated IQR, which is the difference of Q3 and Q1. Mid quartile, it is the average of Q1 and Q3. And we noticed that the mid quartile and mid quartile and the median are not the same, right?
Correct.
Okay, we'll go to next example now. Okay, in this example here, we are asked to find the outliers. When we say outliers, in some data points are, smaller, very smaller than the user data set or very larger than the user data set. If that is the case, then we call it outlier. If you just look at this data, do you see any number which is extremely small or extremely large when you compare to other?
Just the five.
I
And
Five
think
looks pretty
50.
small. 5 is close to 6, but 50 looks pretty far, right? Maybe that's an outlier. We don't know. But this is how we find the outlier. When we say outlier, any data value, less than, if there is anything less than Q1 minus 1.5 IQR, okay, or more than Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR, then that is an outlier. So this is the definition. Any data value less than this value, okay, less than Q1 minus 1.5 IQR, and Q3 plus 1.5 IQR. If it is less than this or more than this, then that's an outlier. So these two values, they are called the fence. This is called the lower fence, and this is the upper fence. So if there is anything below the lower fence or above the upper fence, that is an outlier. Now, in order to find this, you see here we have Q1, here we have Q3, and also we know how to find IQR. IQR also involves Q3 minus Q1. So what we need is, we need Q1 and Q3. So what we are going to do is, we are going to enter this data in the calculator like before and find Q1, Q2, and Q3. So I'm going to give you like 1 minute time to enter the data in your calculator and then find Q1, Q2, and Q3. Please try that. So using calculator, we got Q1 equal to 9, Q2 equal to, Q2 or median is 14, and Q3 is 20. In order to find the fence, you also need the IQR. So what is IQR? IQR is Q3 minus Q1, which is 20 minus 9. What is 20 minus 9? 11, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's find the lower fence now. Lower fence, when I say lower fence, it is this value here, Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR. Q1 is 9 minus 1.5 times IQR is 11. So when you simplify that in your calculator, what you'll get? Just type that, 9 minus 1.5 times 11. What did you get? Negative 7.5, right? Just say yes or no so that I know you're there. Okay, so do you have any value less than negative 7.5 here in the data set? We don't have any, right?
No.
So meaning
no,
of that
sorry.
is,
No.
yes. So we don't have any number less than negative 7.5. Meaning of that is, we don't have the outlier which is below this lower fence. Let's find out if there are outliers greater than upper fence. So let's find upper fence. Upper fence. Upper fence is Q3 plus 1.5 IQR. So Q3 is 20 plus 1.5 times IQR is 11. So 20 plus 1.5 times 11 is 36.5. That's my upper fence. Do you have any number more than 36.5 in this given data set?
Yes.
Yes, what is that?
50.
50 is more than 36.5. So we can say that 50 is the outlier. So we say, since 50 is outside the upper fence, it is an outlier. It's an outlier, okay? Because it is greater than the upper fence. So any number lower than lower fence or more than upper fence, that is your outlier. Any question on outlier?
No.
No, okay.